Hey everyone, Delworth here, bringing you another rapid-fire style review, this time for the isometric role-playing game Pathfinder Kingmaker. It is a Kickstarter-funded game that succeeded and was developed by Owlcat Games. Quick bit of information for everyone who is unfamiliar with what Pathfinder is. It's a more technical and complex version of D&D based around the old D&D version 3.5. Like, no joke, Pathfinder is a ridiculously complex and technical system, and I was genuinely curious how a video game was going to treat adapting it over. Kingmaker's main story is pretty simple to follow. You're a hero tasked with taming an area of the world called the Stolen Lands, becoming a baron, and living up to your destiny of being a truly legendary king to be remembered. Along the way, you'll run into a good-sized cast of unique companions, each of which dynamically affects your decisions and overall story. Graphically, this game is pretty solid, at least for the genre of game that this is, and I really don't think there's much they could have improved upon or done differently given what they were trying to go for. It looks like you'd expect an adaptation of Pathfinder to look like, a top-down, vibrant, and well-detailed world. If you've played a Pillars of Eternity game and enjoyed it, then you'll feel more than at home with Kingmaker's graphical style. It didn't blow me away in any sense of the word, but it wasn't disappointing in the slightest either. I really enjoyed the massive amount of exploration the game had to offer too, and found myself going to places just to see their designs and enjoy the aesthetics of them all. Spells, and there are a lot of them, are appealing, dynamic, and have solid feedback both visually and auditorially. The higher level spells that you can cast and get a hold of in the game look fan-freaking-tastic and rather flashy, causing me to fill half my party with wizards later on. The voice acting, for what there is at least, is solid and well done, each VO quite fitting of the characters they represent, adding to a good amount of immersion when you're progressing through the main story part of the game.
Come one, come all, feast your eyes upon the slowest and the most ridiculous buffoons in Golorian.
In total, I'd say about a fourth of the entire game's text is voice acted, and I wish there was more, but at least you're able to tell shit's going to hit the fan when an enemy you encounter has spoken dialogue. Kingmaker's character creation and class progression is what you would expect from a game like this. You get to pick your race, change a few facial features, then set up your class from one of many different preset classes like fighter, bard, wizard, etc, etc. Traits, feats, stats are all things that you can customize and change, feeling like a genuine Pathfinder character sheet but in a virtual format. Alignment plays a massive role in this game, as certain actions, abilities, and even companions are all tied into how your character behaves. This seemed to have the biggest impact overall in my playthrough, and it was rather impressive, even the smallest decisions having long-lasting impact on the story through my choice of good, neutral, and evil actions. Oh yeah, and companions will straight up dislike you if you're the opposite alignment as them, even turning against you at certain points if they deem you too good or too evil, so pick wisely during the creation process. This game is extremely technical, and botching your character's creation at the start can make the game an infinite amount harder. I had to do research beforehand to make sure I didn't make massive mistakes, as I was told this would cause issues. Combat in Kingmaker is fairly standard fare for an RPG of this type. You control a party of characters, each with skills and preset abilities on a combat bar. Time can be stopped whenever you want to queue up abilities or issue orders to each character, something that becomes increasingly more important as you progress through the game. This isn't a game where you can plow through combat and never strategically control your characters. Even things as simple as positioning around an enemy will have a massive factor on the outcome of each and every battle. The combat isn't perfect or amazing, but there's really no downside to it either, and I felt like it was decent enough. Without sugarcoating it, I'm just going to come straight out and say that this game is ridiculously and brutally difficult at a lot of points, and even on easier difficulties it is, and will constantly feel throughout your play like it's just out to get you. When you play tabletop D&D or Pathfinder with a group of friends, the DM is another human being who will work with you around the general bullshit that happens, but in Kingmaker there's no human touch to that. This, without a doubt, feels like you're struggling against an absolute set-in-stone set of rules with no flexibility and a dungeon master that is trying at every point to ruin your play experience and make life miserable. You will encounter enemies at random points that are far beyond your capabilities and result in a complete and total party wipe. Random mobs you encounter will be multiple levels above your party, even in the starting areas and quests, and will absolutely decimate you no matter what tactics you attempt to use to deal with them. Find a werewolf on the road, you're dead. Run into a random animal in an area that's like every other random animal, but for some reason stupidly high level, dead. Run into a swarm of baby spiders? Extremely dead. It was almost a point of hilarity constantly encountering these enemy types and almost instantly getting wiped out, and with permadeath being a thing, that's no good. Oh, and if you didn't min-max your character, as I said in the beginning, and set everything up perfectly, this will happen far more often, so expect that. It felt as if Kingmaker wanted you to save scum at every single load-in and in between every single fight. I honestly couldn't play through the later parts of the game without doing this, as I'd enter combat at times and have characters instantly get killed completely off on the basis of RNG, which never feels good. Even though it felt like an absolute point of immense frustration at times, it does feel like a faithful adaptation of Pathfinder's core combat system, and because of that, it's tended to be difficult. The dev team definitely accomplished making it almost one-to-one, but in a video game format, I feel like certain things should have been toned down for the sake of enjoyment. Resting, fatigue, and general party management are also systems that are ever present within Kingmaker, and something that I honestly found a bit too tedious. And with time being important in Kingmaker and resting fast forwarding, this causes certain events to occur and other quests to time out. There is, at every point, some sort of limited time event happening that you will be punished for if you forget about, and in some cases cause you to completely fail the story if you're neglectful. It's a bit of a bummer, too, because in games like this you feel a need to explore each and every place that you can, but you're always being dragged back home to deal with something urgent. Kingdom management, without spoiling anything as the game is called Kingmaker Durr, is fairly enjoyable. Managing the lives of all your subjects, constructing towns, dealing with political affairs, and even fighting wars all felt well done. Your companions also play an important role throughout all this, as they can be assigned to be your advisors, each tasked with managing a different aspect of your kingdom. It was fun to deal with horrific things that popped up and started murdering everyone. You could either do this through an overview map and assign people to it, or go in person to the location and deal with it yourself. I enjoyed the various choices and consequences constantly put in my lap because of this, and I genuinely didn't dislike any aspect of it. The biggest problem with Kingmaker, though, something that affects every other system in the game, is its stability. Kingmaker, without a doubt, is unfortunately one of the most bug-filled games I've played in over a year. There are also bugs that will happen that you're completely unaware about, having long-lasting issues on your campaign, an NPC not going where they're supposed to, a quest not updating, all resulting in you getting screwed over later on and not knowing about what to do to fix it. Save corruption is also apparently running rampant, something I didn't personally encounter, but I saw a lot of complaints about on the forums. Characters will get stuck or sometimes break completely. Quests will fail without reason. I had a character die and for some reason not be able to be revived, resulting in them being lost forever, which was unintended with my game settings. Just a lot of frustration to overcome. There's also a heaping pile of technical issues like crashing, items bugging out, inventory glitches, visual glitches, graphical issues. The list goes on and on. It's really hard to look past the massive amount of these things and enjoy what the positives the game has to offer when you're going to run into these issues so damn often. All these technical issues, no doubt, will be fixed in the future, and some have already been fixed at the time of writing this, but at launch it was and still kinda is a complete and utter mess in this regard, and I gotta judge it on that. Overall, though, Kingmaker isn't an awful game. It's not the greatest game I've ever played of this style, but it isn't the worst, and I found key aspects of it to be enjoyable whenever I wasn't plagued by technical problems. Make no mistake, Kingmaker is an extremely difficult and challenging playthrough, but it's faithful to the Pathfinder rule set, and I can appreciate that, and in the end, I'm glad I was able to enjoy it as much as I did. So with everything in mind, I'm giving Pathfinder Kingmaker the highest 6 out of 10 that I can, easily becoming a 7 once the technical problems are fixed in the immediate future. Once those are addressed, I can honestly suggest picking it up if you're a fan of D&D in any capacity. It'll be worth it, especially at the price of $40. Anyway, that's going to be it for this rapid fire style review. If you'd like to do me a solid and hit that like button, and if you're already subscribed, ring the bell to get notifications on new videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and until the next rapid fire review, this is Delrith, and I'll be seeing ya.